photobiologically active radiation includes light with wavelengths of A. 200 to 1000 nanometers, B. 280 to 800 nanometers, C. 400 to 700 nanometers, or D. 700 to 800 nanometers. The answer is 280 to 800 nanometers. Remember that we are looking for the photobiologically active radiation. So this is the wavelength of light that has effect on plant growth, whether positive or negative. 400 to 700 nanometers is the photosynthetically active radiation. 700 to 800 nanometers is the wavelength for the far-red light. And below 400, that is the wavelength for the ultraviolet lights. And UV lights damage cells and cell membranes and all organelles within the cell. Next. The competition of the different parts of a plant for nutrients and water is known as A. Interplant competition, B. Interspecific competition, C. Intraspecific competition, or D. Intraplant competition. The answer is D. Intraplant competition. So, intra meaning within the plant, the competition within the plant. Normally, this includes the factors that affect the internal allocation of the photosynthase, nutrients, and water. Interplant competition occurs between two different plants. So normally, this is due to the proximity or the closeness of the plant together. So they compete with light, water, and nutrients. When we say interspecific, this is the competition between plants of different species. Intraspecific is the competition of plants with the same species. Next, failure of pollen from a flower to fertilize the same flower or other flowers on the same plant is A. Emasculation, B. Male sterility, C. Incompatibility, or D. Monoicy. The answer is self-incompatibility. Emasculation is the removal of the stamen or anthers or killing the pollen of a flower without harming the female reproductive organ. Male sterility, this is the impairment of the male reproductive development as a result of underlying genetic causes, and this will lead to the malformation of the male gametes or the pollen. Monoicy, it refers to the state of having both male and female parts. So, it is also called as the hermaphrodism. Next. Small raised areas in the bark of woody stems which function for gas exchange are called A. Pneumatophores, B. Lenticels, C. Stomata, D. Hydatodes. The answer is lenticels. Stomata, or the stomates, you can see that in the leaves. And hydatodes also is in the leaves. The difference is that the hydatodes will be seen in the margins of the leaves, while the stomata is present in the epidermis. Pneumatophores, these are aerial roots, or roots above the soil or above the water surface in the case of mangroves for gas exchange. Next. It refers to the art and practice of laying out grounds or designing a garden to imitate the natural scenery. A. Ornamental horticulture, B. Landscape gardening, C. Nursery management, or D. Plantation. The answer is landscape gardening. Ornamental horticulture refers to the production of plants with aesthetic values. Nursery management, this is the sum total of practices or activities done to ensure the successful production of planting materials. Plantation is the intensive growing of crops on a large scale for commercial purposes. So crops planted in here are typically utilized after processing. A strengthening tissue present in the plant that can be extracted and be transformed into economic products like rope, jute sack, cotton balls, or cotton is A. Parenchyma, B. Collenchyma, C. Sclerids, or D. Fibers. The answer is fibers. Parenchyma are modified parenchymatous cells or tissues made up of interconnected air chambers. So they have enlarged gas spaces and they are found in plants exposed to flooded conditions or in hydrophytes or water-loving plants. So this functions for gas exchange and buoyancy. What is buoyancy? Buoyancy is the tendency of an object to float in a liquid. Collenchyma, these are usually found in the strings of celery stalks. So they are elongated living cells that provide mechanical support. And normally they occur in the periphery or in the side of the leaves and stems. At maturity, these collenchyma have cell walls that are thick but not usually lignified. Then these two, sclerids and fibers, these are types of sclerenchyma cells. Sclerids are thickened, polyhedral or irregular shape, while the fibers, this is the long, very narrow cells with sharp tapering. Normally, their function is for mechanical support. A plant that stops growing when it produces a terminal and lateral bud for the formation of the staminate and pistillate flower respectively. Such condition exhibited by this plant is known as A. Dioecious, B. Determinate, C. Indeterminate, or D. Monoecious. So in this type of question, or in this question, you might be thinking that there are two possible answers. So you need to analyze the question carefully. It is emphasized here that the plant stops growing when it produces the terminal and lateral buds for flower formation. So the answer is determinate. Remember that determinate plants, these are plants that stops growing once they reach a certain height and produce flowers. While monoecious, these are plants that have both the male and the female reproductive organ, but it doesn't mean that they stops growing once they produce the buds for flowering. So monoecious can be determinate or indeterminate. Indeterminate plants, on the other hand, is the opposite of the determinate. So even though they already produce flowers, they still continue their growth. Dioecious plants, these are plants that have separate male plant and female plant. Next, the phenomenon in a single major gene affecting more than one character is known as A. Pleiotropy, B. Polymorphism, C. Heterosis, or D. Epistasis. The answer is pleiotropy. Okay, epistasis, this is where one gene affects the expression of another gene located at a different location. Heterosis, on the other hand, is the phenomenon in which the progeny have better characteristics compared to both parents. Polymorphism, from poly meaning many, morph meaning structure, so this is the occurrence of two or more clearly different morphs or forms, or also referred to as the alternative phenotypes in the population of a species. Next, the botanical classification of agricultural crops is the grouping of plants according to morphological similarities, and it was founded by which scientists? A. Pasteur, B. Leeuwenhoek, C. Linnaeus, or D. Hooke? The answer is Linnaeus. Remember, Carolus Linnaeus. Okay? Pasteur or Louis Pasteur, he is the pioneer in the development of vaccines for anthrax, fowl cholera, and rabies vaccine. Pasteurization is also introduced by Louis Pasteur. So what is pasteurization? It is the partial sterilization of a product like milk or wine to make it safe for consumption. Leeuwenhoek or Antoine van Leeuwenhoek is the father of microbiology. So he discovered the bacteria and the protists. Robert Hooke discovered the plant cells that led to the understanding of the cell theory. Next, the clonal true-to-type rapid propagation of plants in vitro is A. Sexual propagation, B. Clonal propagation, C. Fertilization, or D. Micropropagation. The answer is micropropagation. So your clue here is the in vitro. Clonal propagation is the process of reproducing genetically identical plants through asexual means, such as cuttings. Fertilization is the union of the female and male gametes forming a zygote. And sexual propagation involves fertilization. Photosynthetically active radiation includes light with wavelengths of A. 300 to 1000 nanometers, B. 380 to 800 nanometers, C. 400 to 700 nanometers, or D. 700 to 800 nanometers. The answer is 400 to 700 nanometers. Below 400, that is already your ultraviolet light or the UV lights. 700 to 800 nanometers is the wavelength for the far-red light. And if you are familiar with your phytochromes, there are two types, the phytochrome red and the phytochrome far-red. So these phytochromes are photoreceptors that play fundamental roles in photoreception of light environment that is necessary for plant growth and development. So these two phytochromes, the PR and the PFR, can be converted to each other. When PR absorbs red light at approximately 667 nanometers, it is immediately converted to PFR. On the other hand, when PFR absorbs far-red light at approximately 730 nanometers, it is quickly converted to PR, or the phytochrome red. And the phytochrome red is the inactive form of the phytochrome. PFR is the physiologically active form. So when a leaf absorbs a far-red light, the phytochrome PFR is converted into PR, which slows growth. Next, heliophytes are also known as A. Sun-loving plants, B. Shade-loving plants, C. Plants growing in gravel, or D. Plants growing in decaying matter. The answer is sun-loving plants. So helio meaning sun, phytes meaning plants. Shade-loving plants are also called the xeophytes, while plants growing in gravel are called lithophytes, and plants growing in decaying matter are called saprophytes. Next, it refers to the practice of cultivating and managing fruits. A. Pomology, B. Olericulture, C. Ornamental horticulture, or D. Arboriculture. The answer is pomology. Pomo from the word pomum meaning fruits, and logy from the word logia meaning the study of. So pomology is the study of fruits. Olericulture from the word olus meaning vegetable, and culture from the word cultura meaning the cultivation of or growing. So olericulture is the growing of vegetables. Arbori meaning trees, and we already know what culture is. Ornamental horticulture, on the other hand, is the branch of horticulture that deals with the propagation of plants for their aesthetic purpose. such as the cat flowers, cat foliage. Next, a production system which is relatively stable due to the presence of several species. A. Sole cropping. B. Multiple cropping. C. Cropping system. Or D. Ratoon cropping. The answer is multiple cropping. So your clue here is the several species. When we say sole cropping, it is similar with monocropping. So you are only planting one crop. Ratoon cropping, on the other hand, is a type of cultivation wherein you allow the second crop to grow from the remains of a previously harvested crops. So what is ratooning? Ratooning is the process of harvesting or cutting the above portion of a plant but leaving its root system and some growing shoots to allow the plants to recover and produce fresh crop. Cropping system, on the other hand, refers to the type and sequence of crops grown and the practices used for growing them. Next, the light reaction phase of photosynthesis takes place in A. Chloroplast, B. Thylakoid, C. Stroma, or D. Chlorophyll. So remember your chloroplast. The color of chloroplast is green due to the pigment chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is the pigment. Inside the chloroplast, we have the thylakoid. So thylakoids are flattened discs that are stacked together. So each of these discs is called a thylakoid. And a stack of thylakoids is called the grana or granum. And the fluid, the aqueous fluid that surrounds the thylakoid is called the stroma. So the question is asking for the light reaction phase. And the light reaction phase of photosynthesis takes place in the thylakoid. While the stroma, this is where the dark phase occurs. Next, which of the following is not a feature of an essential element? A. The absence of an element makes it impossible for the plant to complete its life cycle. B. The deficiency symptom is specific to the element in question. C. The element is directly involved in the nutrition of the plant. Or D. The element cannot be substituted by another element. The answer is B. So A, C, and D is a feature of an essential element. Whereas the deficiency symptom, for example, yellowing. Deficiency in nitrogen can cause yellowing. Deficiency in magnesium can also cause yellowing. Next, a seed is considered alive in the tetrazolium test when A. Whole seed is stained, B. Radical portion is not stained but the rest of the seed is, C. Plumule portion is not stained but the rest of the seed is, or D. Half the seed is stained. So remember, in tetrazolium test, the stained portions are those areas that exhibits respiration. So when the radical or the emerging root is not stained, this is not viable. When the plumule portion is not stained, it is also not viable. And when half the seed is stained, it is also not viable. So the answer is A. Next, the movement of substance against a concentration or chemical gradient is known as A. Passive transport, B. Active transport, C. Facilitated diffusion, or D. Simple diffusion. The answer is active transport. Remember that if it's against a concentration gradient, then it needs energy. So, it is active. Passive transport is a process in which the particles follows the gradient. So technically, it does not need energy. And facilitated diffusion and simple diffusion is type of passive transport. Next, it refers to the removal of immature anthers from a hermaphrodite flower. A. Emasculation, B. Pollination, C. Breeding, or D. Polyploidization. So the answer is emasculation. Hermaphrodite refers to a flower that has both the female and the male part. Pollination is the act of transferring the pollen grains to the stigma. Breeding is the process of mating to produce offsprings, but in plants, it is the purposeful manipulation of the qualities or the traits to create new varieties. Polyploidization, on the other hand, refers to the multiplication of a complete chromosome set of a certain species to give rise to a new species. So the product of this is a cell containing more than 2 pairs of homologous chromosomes. Next, storage plastids that store starch, oil, and proteins are called A. Aleuroplast, B. Amyloplast, C. Elioplast, or D. Leucoplast. The answer is leucoplast. Remember that leucoplast has several types. So, those types are the aleuro, amylo, and elioplast. Aleuro, or the proteinoplast, these are the plastids that store protein. Amylo meaning starch, so these are the plastids that store starch. Elio meaning olive oil, so it stores oil. Next, what is the function of the modified roots characterized by enlarged and fleshy of some plants like Daucus carota, Ipomea batatas, and Raphanus sativus? A. Water and nutrient absorption, B. Food storage, C. Anchorage, or D. All of the above. The answer is food storage. So all of these, A, B, and C, are the functions of a root. However, we are only looking for the function of the modified roots of carrots, sweet potato, and radish. The water and nutrient absorption is the function of the root hairs. Wheat is scientifically known as A. Glycine max, B. Triticum sativum, C. Arachis hypogea, or D. Manihot esculenta. The answer is B. Triticum sativum. Glycine max is soybean, Arachis hypogea is peanut, and Manihot esculenta is cassava. Next, which is not a characteristic of a dicotyledonous plant? A. Netted venation, B. Taproot system, C. Floral parts in multiple of 5, or D. Scattered vascular bundles. The answer is D. Scattered vascular bundles are seen in monocots. So, other characteristics of a monocotyledonous plant, they have parallel venation, their flower parts are in trees, and they have fibrous root system. Also, one cotyledon, while dicot, di meaning two, so they have two cotyledon. Next, as response to drought, this hormone initiates stomatal closure to reduce water loss. A. Ethylene, B. Gibberellin, C. Cytokinins, or D. Abscisic acid. The answer is abscisic acid, or ABA. This is also referred to as the stress hormone. Ethylene is called the ripening hormone. Gibberellins are important in controlling the major aspects of plant growth, such as germination, elongation of cells, and flowering. Cytokinins, this promotes cell division during proliferation and increase cell expansion during the expansion stage of leaf cell development. Next, it refers to the male organ of a flower. A. Sepal, B. Petals, C. Stamen, or D. Pistil. The answer is stamen. Pistil is the female organ of a flower. Sepals, or the calyx, these are defensive organs that encloses and protects the developing reproductive structures. Petals are also called corolla, so these are modified leaves that surround the reproductive parts of a flower. Next, a process of two successive nuclear divisions in which the diploid chromosome number is reduced to haploid. A. Mitosis, B. Meiosis, D. Karyokinesis, or D. Cytokinesis. The answer is meiosis. So, mitosis, it involves one cell division producing two identical diploid daughter cells. Karyokinesis is the step during cell division where the nucleus divides to form two daughter nuclei. Cytokinesis is a process of cell division which divides the cytoplasm of a parental cell into two daughter cells. So, cytokinesis occurs in both mitosis and meiosis. Next, foundation seeds are produced from A. Breeder seeds, B. Registered seeds, C. Foundation seeds, or D. Good seeds. The answer is breeder seeds. So, breeder seeds are those with white tags. So, just remember the hierarchy of seeds. The first one is the breeder, followed by the foundation, then registered seeds, and the certified seeds. So, registered seeds are tagged with green tags. Foundation seeds are red tags, and certified seeds are those with blue tag. Next, it refers to the sum total of seed properties which determine the potential for rapid uniform emergence and development of normal seedling under adverse field condition. A. Seed viability, B. Seed purity, C. Seed vigor, D. Seed health. The answer is seed vigor. Seed viability refers to the capability of the seed to germinate and produce healthy seedlings. Seed purity, on the other hand, or the purity of the seed lot or seed group or seed batch, indicates the percentage of how much is made up of pure seeds or the desired seeds and how much is made up of inert material and other seeds. Seed health is the measure of the freedom of seeds from pathogens. Next, it refers to the sum of all activities performed for the successful production of planting materials. A. Horticulture, B. Landscape gardening, C. Nursery management, or D. Plantation. The answer is nursery management. So remember, horticulture is the study of cultivation and management of garden crops. Plantation is the intensive growing of crops on a large scale for commercial purposes. So normally, crops planted under plantation are typically processed before utilizing. Landscape gardening, on the other hand, is the art and process of laying out or designing an area to mimic the natural scenery. Next, an example of leguminous crop grown to cover the soil to control soil erosion and add organic matter and nitrogen to the soil. A. Centrosema, B. Sweet potato, C. Mustard, or D. Sorghum. The answer is Centrosema. So, Centrosema is under the Leguminosae family or the Fabaceae. Sweet potato is under the Convolvulaceae or the Morning Glory family. while mustard is under the Brassicaceae or the mustard or cabbage family. And sorghum is under the Gramineae or Poaceae or the grasses family. Next, it refers to the genetic modification of plants for human benefit. A. Plant pathology. B. Plant physiology. C. Plant breeding. Or D. Plant morphoanatomy. The answer is plant breeding. So, plant pathology is the study of suffering of plants. Plant physiology, on the other hand, refers to the study of plant functions and behavior, including the processes of growth, metabolism, and reproduction. Plant morphoanatomy is the study of the structures, including the internal and external parts, and mostly it deals with the cellular or microscopic level. It refers to the process of exposing seeds or seedlings to low temperature to induce flowering. A. Photoperiodism. B. Volatilization. C. Acclimatization. Or D. Vernalization. The answer is vernalization. Photoperiodism is the response to changes in day length, or the regulation of development in response to day length, such as flowering. Volatilization is the process of converting a chemical substance, such as a fertilizer, from a liquid or solid state to a gaseous or vapor state. Acclimatization or hardening is a process in which a plant adapts or adjusts to its environment by repeatedly exposing them to stress, such as hot environment. Next, these are plants grown for their fleshy underground stem that spreads horizontally. A. Corms. B. Rhizomes. C. Tubers. Or D. Bulbs. The answer is rhizomes. Corms, they are also specialized stem but they grow vertically. Tubers can grow in any direction. So normally they are characterized with having buds or eyes which will eventually grow into a new plant. Bulbs, on the other hand, they have a very short stem with fleshy leaves. Normally their leaves are overlapping. An example of this is the onion and garlic. Next, it is an undesirable phenomenon affecting tissue culture-based propagation wherein plant tissues appear overly succulent, crisp, waterlogged, or glassy. A. Vitrification. B. Lignification. C. Vernalization. Or D. Guttation. The answer is vitrification or hyperhydricity. Lignification, it is a process that changes the character of a cell wall by making it harder. Vernalization, it is the artificial exposure of plants or seeds to low temperature to induce flowering. Guttation. Guttation is the loss of water in the form of liquid through hydatodes or water stomates. Next, the study of growing, arranging, and marketing of flowers and flowering plants. A. Olericulture. B. Floriculture. C. Sericulture. Or D. Arboriculture. The answer is floriculture. So let's go to the etymology. Flori, from the word flos or floor, meaning flowers. Oleri, from the Greek word olus, meaning vegetables. Arbori, from the word arbor, meaning trees. And seri, from the word sericum, meaning silk. So sericulture is the study of silk production. Next, it refers to the group of plants that have no self-supporting stem. A. Herbs, B. Vines, C. Shrubs, or D. Trees. The answer is vines. Trees are characterized by having a trunk. Shrubs are woody and with bushy appearance. Herbs do not have woody stem. But all of these three have self-supporting stem. Next, the term used to describe seeds that could not be kept viable for a long time and cannot withstand drying. A. Recalcitrant, B. Albuminous, C. Perispermic, or D. Orthodox seeds. The answer is recalcitrant seeds. This is also called as the desiccation-sensitive seeds. So they cannot survive drying below 20 to 30% of their relative moisture content. An example of this is the avocado and cocoa. Orthodox seeds, on the other hand, is the opposite of recalcitrant. They can survive drying below 12% of their relative moisture content. An example of this are eggplant and legumes. Albuminous seeds, or the endospermic seeds, are those seeds that retain their endosperm until maturity. So what is the endosperm? These are tissues that surround and nourishes the embryo in the seeds. So an example of albuminous seeds are castor and sunflower seeds. Perispermic seeds are those seeds that contain perisperm. So what are perisperm? Perisperms are nutritive tissue of the seeds. An example of perispermic seeds are black pepper. Next, it refers to the plants that require short period of darkness to flower. A. Long day plants, B. Day neutral plants, C. Short day plants, or D. Long night plants. The answer is long day plants. Long day plants, day neutral plants, and short day plants, these are classification of plants based on their photoperiod. So long day plants, these are plants that will flower when exposed to long day or short night. Day neutral plants, these are the plants that will flower regardless of the day length. While short day plants, these plants will flower when exposed to short day or long night. Next, organ growth towards the source of a particular substance is called A. Chemotropism, B. Thigmotropism, C. Hydrotropism, or D. Phototropism. The answer is chemotropism. Thigmotropism is response to mechanical stimuli. Hydro responds to water. Photo responds to light. Next, the structure that joins together two adjacent cells is called A. Cement layer, B. Middle lamella, C. Cell wall, or D. Cambium. The answer is middle lamella. Cement layer is the outermost layer of the epicuticle of insects. Cell wall, it is the rigid yet elastic outermost layer of plant cells. So, cell walls are further divided into three parts: the primary cell wall, the middle lamella, and the secondary cell wall. But the middle lamella is the one that cements or joins together the two adjacent cells. Cambium, on the other hand, these are secondary meristems. that are formed in the stems and roots after the tissues of the primary plant bodies have differentiated. Next, the organelle that plays the vital role in maintaining turgor in the cytosol is called A. Golgi bodies, B. Ribosomes, C. Chloroplast, or D. Vacuole. The answer is vacuole. So, Golgi bodies are for polysaccharide synthesis. Ribosomes are for protein synthesis. And chloroplast is the site of photosynthesis. In case you don't know what cytosol is the fluid contained in the cytoplasm. So, cytoplasm is the entire content within the cell membrane. Next, the structure that surrounds the plasma lemma and the protoplast is called A. Cell membrane, B. Tonoplast, C. Cell wall, or D. Plasmodesmata. So what is protoplast? Protoplast refers to the entire cell, excluding the cell wall. Plasma lemma is also called the cell membrane. So what structure surrounds the cell membrane? It's the cell wall. Tonoplast is the membrane that surrounds the vacuole. And plasmodesmata are small tubes that allow intracellular communication in plants. It refers to a flower bearing both stamen and pistil. A. Complete, B. Incomplete, C. Perfect, or D. Imperfect. The answer is perfect flowers. The stamen is the male part of a flower and pistil is the female part. Imperfect flowers are those that only have either a stamen or a pistil. Complete flowers, on the other hand, are those with complete flower structure. So there are four: the stamen, the pistil, the sepals, and the petals. If they are missing either one of those four, they are already incomplete flowers. So we can say that all complete flowers are perfect, but not all perfect flowers are complete. So perfect flowers can be incomplete as long as the missing parts are the sepals or the petals, while imperfect flowers are always incomplete flowers. Next, a substance naturally produced by plants that promotes growth even at low concentrations. A. Phytohormone, B. Fertilizer, C. Phytoalexin, or D. Plant growth regulators. The answer is phytohormone. In some references, they interchange phytohormones and plant growth regulators, and they define plant growth regulators as organic substances. But plant growth regulators, or PGRs in general, are substances that modify plant growth even at low concentrations, and they can either be organic if they are produced by the plants, or synthetic if they are extracted from the plants and chemically synthesized to produce a liquid or powder. For example, is the naphthalene acetic acid, or the NAA, and the alpha naphthalene acetic acid, or the ANAA, which are the commercial rooting hormones. Fertilizers are natural or artificial substances containing chemical elements that improve growth and the productiveness of plants. Phytoalexins, these are produced by plants in response to infection. Next, Inarcing is also known as A. Grafting by approach, B. Layering, C. Marcoting, or D. Budding. Marcoting and layering or air layerage is the same. It is the propagation of new plant, normally from a branch that is still attached to the parent plant, by allowing it to form roots on the branch. Budding is a method wherein you are going to insert a bud from a desirable plant into an opening in the bark of a compatible rootstock. Grafting, in general, is the act of joining two plants together. The upper part of the graft is what we call the scion, and the lower portion is the rootstock. So there are different types of grafting, and one of these is inarcing, which is a method wherein two plants are united while growing on their own roots. And it is also called as grafting by approach or approach grafting. Next, crops grown to reduce soil erosion, control weeds, and conserve moisture are called A. Trap crops, B. Cover crops, C. Soilage crops, or D. Catch crops. The answer is cover crops. Catch crops are fast-growing crops. They are planted as a substitute when the main crop has failed, or they are planted in between rows of the main crop, especially when the main crop takes a lot of time to mature, or they can be grown between two cropping seasons of the main crop. So in that short period of time after harvesting and before planting. Soilage crops, on the other hand, are grasses that are grown, cut, and directly fed to the animals. Trap crops, from the word trap. So they are planted in order to provide protection for the main crop. So what trap crops do is that they attract the pest to them. Next, type of germination wherein the cotyledon comes above the ground. A. Hypogeal, B. Epigeal, C. Viviparous germination, or D. Vernalization. The answer is epigeal. Epi is a Greek term meaning upon or over. Ge is a Greek term meaning earth. So epigeal means upon or over the earth or over the soil. So the cotyledon comes above the soil. Hypo, on the other hand, meaning under. So the cotyledon remains below the soil. Viviparous germination, on the other hand, is when the embryo of the seed continues to grow or they germinate even though they are still attached to the parent plant. Vernalization is the process by which a plant is exposed to cold period or cold temperature to promote flowering. Next, the points in the ground of sloping area with the same elevation. A. Furrows, B. Ridges, C. Contour, or D. Slope. The answer is contour. Slope is the degree of inclination of the soil. Ridges are the elevated or raised areas, while furrows are the depressed areas. Next, the weather pattern from season to season or year to year is called A. El Niño, B. Weather, C. Tropical depression, or D. Climate. The answer is climate. Weather is the short-term atmospheric condition. So it can be day-to-day or just a short period of time. El Niño is a climate pattern that describes the unusual warming of the surface. So it is characterized by extreme heat and dryness. While tropical depression forms when a low pressure area is accompanied by thunderstorms. So these have a maximum wind speed of 39 mph. Next, it refers to the ratio of reflected radiation to the total incident solar radiation. A. Photosynthetically active radiation. B. Albedo. C. Solar irradiance. Or D. Lux. The answer is albedo, or the albedo measurement. Photosynthetically active radiation, or PAR, refers to the wavelength of light utilized by plants. So normally it is 400 to 700 nanometers. Solar irradiance or solar irradiation is the amount of electromagnetic radiation received from the sun per unit area, and normally this area is in terms of square meters. Lux, on the other hand, is the unit of illuminance. Next. Biologically effective radiation includes light with wavelengths of A. 300 to 1000 nanometer, B. 380 to 800 nanometer, C. 400 to 700 nanometer, or D. 700 to 800 nanometer. Now the answer is 400 to 700 nanometers. 300 to 400 nanometers are the ultraviolet light, and they are not safe for plants and even for animals. The 700 to 800 nanometers are the wavelength for the far-red light. If you are familiar with phytochromes, those are photoreceptors that play a fundamental role in photoreception of light. So there are two types of phytochromes: the phytochrome red, or the PR, and the phytochrome far red, or the PFR. So the red light is absorbed by the phytochrome red at a wavelength of approximately 667 nanometers, and it is immediately converted to phytochrome far red, which is the active form. However, when a plant absorbs a far red light at approximately 730 nanometer, it is converted back to phytochrome red, which is the inactive form. Next, it refers to the low temperature requirement of seeds or seedlings for flowering. A. Photoperiodism, B. Volatilization, C. Acclimatization, or D. Vernalization. The answer is vernalization. Photoperiodism is the regulation of growth in response to day length. Volatilization is the process of converting a chemical substance, for instance, a fertilizer, from a liquid or solid state into a gaseous or vapor form. Acclimatization is a process wherein an organism adjusts to its environment by constant or repeated exposure to hot environment or stress. It refers to the practice of cultivating and managing garden crops such as fruits and vegetables. A. Pomology, B. Olericulture, C. Horticulture, or D. Arboriculture. The answer is horticulture. Remember na yung horticulture ay meron pang iba't ibang areas, like pomology, olericulture, and arboriculture. So yung pomology is the cultivation and management of fruits. Olericulture, sa vegetables. Yung arboriculture naman, sa trees and other woody plants. Next, it refers to the production of crops with the purpose of enhancing the environment. A. Ornamental horticulture, B. Landscape gardening, C. nursery management, or D, plantation? So the answer is ornamental horticulture. Bakit po hindi landscape gardening ang sagot? Kasi yung landscape gardening, ito na yung art or practice of laying out grounds or yung pagde-design ng garden para magaya yung natural scenery. While yung ornamental horticulture, involved pa ito sa production ng crops with aesthetic value. At pag gumamit ka ng halaman na may aesthetic value, you are already enhancing the environment o pinapaganda mo na yung environment. Yung nursery management naman, ito yung sum of all practices na ginagawa to produce planting materials. While yung plantation horticulture, ito ay yung intensive growing ng crops on a large scale basis. Normally, itong mga crops na ginagamit dito ay commercial at kailangan pang i-process bago i-utilize. Next, Momordica charantia and Sechium edule belongs to this family. A. Cucurbitaceae, B. Brassicaceae, C. Malvaceae, or D. Compositae? The answer is Cucurbitaceae. So, yung Compositae, ito ay tinatawag ding Asteraceae or yung artichoke, lettuce, or daisy family. Yung Malvaceae naman, ito yung cotton, tsaka yung okra or yung ladyfinger. Brassicaceae naman is yung crucifers or mustard family or yung cabbage family. So, yung cucurbits, katulad ng Momordica charantia, which is yung ampalaya or yung bitter gourd, tsaka yung Sechium edule na tinatawag natin na sayote or chayote or chocho. Next, it refers to the basic unit of plant classification. A. Species, B. Order, C. Family, or D. Genus. The correct answer is species. Kasi itong order, under ng order, may iba't iba pang families. At under ng family, may iba't iba pang genus. Next, it is the major water-conducting cells in flowering plants. A. Vessels, B. Sieve tubes, C. Tracheids, or D. Sieve cells. So, ano ba yung vascular tissue na responsible for transporting water and dissolved minerals? Di ba yung xylem? So, yung xylem, meron pa siyang mga specialized water-conducting cells na tinatawag na tracheary elements such as tracheids and vessels. So, yung tracheids, itong tracheids, normally nakikita siya sa gymnosperms and seedless vascular plants. So, less specialized siya compared kay vessels. So, hindi na ito yung sagot. Kasi, mostly sa gymnosperm siya, ang hinahanap natin is flowering plants, which is yung angiosperms. So, ang sagot dyan is yung vessels. So, para saan naman yung sieve tubes at sieve cells? Ito ay examples na ng phloem. It is the collective term for the pistil of a flower. A. Androecium, B. Corolla, C. Gynoecium, or D. Calyx. The answer is Gynoecium. Tingnan natin yung etymology niya. Yung gyno, from the Greek word guni or gunik, meaning woman or female. Yung ecium, from oikos, meaning house. So, yung pistil is the female part ng flower. Kaya, ang sagot is gynoecium. Itong androecium naman, ito yung sa stamen or sa male part. Andro, from the Greek word aner, meaning man. Yung corolla naman, ito ay collection of petals. Yung calyx or calyx, collection of sepals. Next. During drought conditions, monocots roll their leaves in order to prevent excessive evaporation of water. This rolling phenomenon occurs as a result of specialized large epidermal cells which became flaccid during drought. These cells are called A. Bulliform cells, B. Subsidiary cells, C. Guard cells, or D. Trichomes? The answer is bulliform cells. Yung subsidiary cells or accessory cells, ito ay nagsasurround or nagsusupport dun sa guard cells. Yung guard cells naman, ito ay for gas exchange na makikita sa epidermis ng leaves. Yung trichomes naman, ito ay either unicellular or multicellular na extension ng epidermal cells in plants. So, ang function ng trichomes ay para i-protect yung plants from excessive transpiration. Next, what is the botanical term for wood? A. Secondary xylem, B. cambium, C. Secondary phloem, or D. bark? So, the answer is secondary xylem. So, for example, ito yung cross-section ng trunk. Ito ay yung bark o yung tinatawag ding periderm. Siya yung outermost layer. Pero itong bark ay nahati pa sa outer tsaka inner bark. Yung inner bark is yung secondary phloem din. At katabi nun is yung cambium. So, yung cambium, ito. So, yung cambium ay tinatawag din na phylogen. Sila ay secondary meristems or area sila of dividing cells na pwedeng mag-differentiate into a xylem or a phloem. Pag nag-differentiate siya outside, magpo-produce siya ng secondary phloem. Pag nag-differentiate siya inwards or inside, yung secondary phloem naman ang mapoproduce or yung wood. So, yung wood, may tinatawag pang heartwood tsaka sapwood. Itong sapwood, ito yung newly formed na wood. Tapos yung heartwood, ayan na yung inner part or yung hard portion. Next, the young plant that develops inside the seed. A. Seed coat, B. Embryo, C. Endosperm, or D. Seedling? So the answer is embryo. Yung seed coat or yung testa, ito yung outer covering ng seed. Yung endosperm naman, ito ay storage tissue na nakapalibot dun sa embryo kasi siya yung nagpo-provide ng nourishment dun sa developing embryo. Yung seedling naman, ito yung young plant grown from seed. Next, several plants have the characteristic of becoming leafless during a year's growth. These plants that shed off their leaves are called A. Monoecious, D. Dioecious, C. Deciduous, or D. Foliaceous? So, the answer is deciduous. Yung monoecious, ang ibig sabihin nito, may halaman ka na merong male at female reproductive organs. Pag dioecious naman, magkahiwalay yung male sa female na plant. Pag foliaceous, ang ibig sabihin ng folia from the Latin word folium, meaning leaf. Yung aceous, meaning a certain kind of. So, ang foliaceous, ibig sabihin lang yan, parang dahon, ganun, resembling a leaf or leaves. It refers to the practice of cultivating and managing trees and woody plants. A. Horticulture, B. Olericulture, C. Floriculture, or D. Arboriculture? The answer is D. Arboriculture. So, punta tayo sa etymology or sa origin of words. The arboriculture ay nanggaling sa dalawang Latin word. Yung arbori from the Latin word arbor, meaning trees. Culture, meaning cultivation or growing. So, arboriculture is the cultivation and managing of trees and other woody plants. Floriculture, yung flori from the word flor or floss, meaning flower. So, floriculture is for flower cultivation. Olericulture. Oleri from the word olus, meaning vegetables. Vegetable cultivation ang olericulture. Horticulture. Horti from the word hortus, meaning garden. So, horticulture is garden crop cultivation. Next, The term agronomy is derived from two Greek words. What are these words? A. Agros and nomos. B. Agri and nomos. C. Ager and nomos. Or D. Agris and nomos. So the correct answer is A. Agros and nomos. So agros meaning field crops. Nomos meaning arranging or managing. So managing of field crops ang agronomy. Itong agri and ager, ito yung origin ng word na agri dun sa agriculture. Okay? Agris, ito ay Latvian word. Next. The term cereal is derived from the name of the most important grain deity. Who is this deity? A. Ceres. B. Cerces. C. Cerea. D. Cerces. The answer is A. Ceres. Ceres is the goddess of agriculture or goddess of bounty sa mga Romans. Ang tawag sa kanya sa Greek ay Demeter. Si Cerces ay hindi deity, ito ay king, Persian king. Cerea is a town in Italy. Cerces or si Circe, siya yung daughter ni Helios at siya yung goddess of sorcery. Next. The scientific name of rambutan. A. Artocarpus altilis. B. Nephelium lapaceum. C. Artocarpus heterophylla. Or D. Annona muricata. The answer is B. Nephelium lapaceum. Artocarpus altilis ay breadfruit o yung rimas. Artocarpus heterophylla is yung langka o yung jackfruit. Annona muricata is the guyabano or the soursop. Next, a method of breeding wherein a hybrid is crossed to one of its parents to improve one or few undesirable characteristics. A. Double cross. B. Polycross. C. Backcross. Or D. Top cross. So, ang clue sa question na to is cross to one of its parents. So, the answer is backcross. Double cross is when you pollinate two different single cross hybrids. So, ano yung single cross hybrids? For example, you have A and B. Pag kinross mo yan, you have A, B. Then C, cross mo sa D, you have C, D. Itong si AB, siya ay isang single cross hybrid. So, pag double cross, you're going to cross AB cross to CD. CD. So, magpo-produce ka ng double cross hybrid na ABCD. Polycross naman, from the word poly, meaning marami. Okay? You're going to select plants or inbreds and you will allow them to open pollinate in isolation using a pollen from selected lines din. Yung top cross naman is a cross between an inbred or a tester or an open pollinated variety. So, ano yung tester? Yung tester, pwede yung product ng backcross. Next. The phenomenon in which the offspring have more robust or vigorous growth than their parents. A. Inbreeding depression. B. Genetic hybridization. C. Outbreeding depression. Or D. Hybrid vigor. So, ang sagot ay D. Hybrid vigor or also known as heterosis or outbreeding enhancement. Inbreeding depression refers to the decline or yung pagbaba ng biological fitness or vigor or yung growth as a result of inbreeding. Meron ding outbreeding depression na tinatawag. This occurs naman when you cross between two genetically distant or non-related individuals. But still, it results in a reduction of fitness or growth or vigor. Genetic hybridization is the process of interbreeding of individuals from genetically distinct populations para mag-produce ng hybrid. Next, it is a class of seeds issued with red tags and characterized by its preserved genetic identity and purity. Ang clue mo dito is the red tags. Ano ba ang may red tags? Ang breeder seed is white. Ang certified seeds ay blue. Ang registered seeds ay green. So, ang matitira is foundation seeds. Next, a type of dormancy wherein the new embryo stops growing while still attached to the parent plant, thus preventing the seeds from germinating viviparously even after the ripe seed is shed off or harvested. A. Innate dormancy. B. Induced dormancy. C. Enforced dormancy. Or D. Forced dormancy. Okay, ang sagot is innate dormancy. So, unahin muna natin yung iba. Itong forced dormancy, walang ganyan. Ang enforced dormancy ay type ng condition, ay type of dormancy in which the seeds are incapable of germination due to unfavorable environment. Okay? Induced dormancy naman, ang nangyayari dito, the seeds already imbibed water but is placed under extremely unfavorable conditions that affects its seed physiology. So, ano pong pinagkaiba ng dalawa? Parehas namang unfavorable condition. Si enforced dormancy, pag nilagay mo yung seeds under favorable condition, it will germinate immediately, pwedeng days, ganon. Pero si induced dormancy, since nabago yung seed physiology niya, kailangan niya ng time. So, it may take days or weeks bago siya mag-germinate. Innate dormancy is a condition wherein the seeds is incapable of germination kahit na exposed siya sa favorable conditions. Ang causes nito is baka yung embryo ay hindi pa mature. So, iintayin pang maging physiologically mature yung embryo bago siya mag-germinate. Next, a type of sclerenchyma that is short and more or less cuboidal in shape, giving a gritty characteristic when fruits containing them are eaten. A. Fibers. B. Strings. C. Sclerids. D. Tracheids. The answer is sclerids. So, remember that meron lang dalawang types of sclerenchyma, yung fibers and yung sclerids. So, yung sclerids, siya yung cuboidal, irregular, or polyhedral in shape. Yung fibers naman are long, narrow, at may tapering end. Yung strings naman, nakikita to sa celery, sa stalks ng celery. At ito ay example ng collenchyma cells. Tracheids naman ay elongated conductive cells. Pag sinabi natin conductive cells, tinatawag din yun na tracheary element. So, they transport water, mineral salts through the xylem. Next, biological diversity is the total variability within all the living organisms and the ecological complexes they inhibit. Which of the following is not a level of biodiversity? A. Genetic diversity. B. Species diversity. C. Ecosystem diversity. Or D. Human diversity. So, of course, the answer is human diversity. There are three levels of biodiversity. So, yung genetic, species, and ecosystem. Pag human diversity, pasok na yan sa species diversity. So, kung meron kayong mga questions na nahihirapan kayong sagutin or nalilito kayo, comment it down below and we'll try to explain it for you.